Good afternoon, students. So let's get ready to listen to one more interesting and adventurous story in lesson number 34, The King of the Golden River, Part 1. The King of the Golden River. Long, long ago, in the mountainous part of a country, there was a fertile valley. Fertile means able to produce great crops. There were many waterfalls leaping down the mountain tops, but not into the valley. They all ran down the other side of the mountain. One of the falls was very high and shone like gold in the beams of the evening sun. People called it the Golden River. Beams means rays. Now, though there were no streams running down to the valley itself, the wind constantly brought the clouds to the valley. Even when the rest of the country was dry, it always rained in the valley. In the valley, the wind and the clouds made the crops green, the hay high, the apples red, the grapes purple, and the honey sweet. So children, as it rained frequently in this valley, there were very good crops and vegetables, fruits grown in the valley, and therefore the people called this valley as the Treasure Valley. The Treasure Valley belonged to three brothers, Squats, Hans, and Gluck. The two older brothers were big, ugly, and wicked. They were good farmers, but they killed everything that was not profitable for them. Even little things like blackbirds and hedgehogs. Hedgehogs are small brown animals, like you can see in this image, with spines on its back, and crickets. They did not treat their servants well and gave them only poor wages. Wages means the money that is paid for the work that a person does. They waited till the corn had become very expensive in the market and then sold it for twice its value. They were very rich, but they never ever gave so much as a penny to the poor. That means they never helped poor people. People called them the Black Brothers. The youngest of the three brothers was only 12 years old. He was just the opposite of his brothers. He was kind to every living thing, though his own brothers were cruel to him and made him to do all the cooking and the mending and the housework for them. Mending means repairing. One evening, the two brothers had gone out. As usual, they had warned Gluck to let nobody in and give nothing out. Gluck was to get their dinner ready for them. So the two brothers went out one evening. It was raining very hard outside and the weather was very cold. Just then there was a double knock on the door. Gluck went to the window and put his head out to see who it was. He saw the most extraordinary looking gentleman standing at the door. The strange visitor was very short, with a large nose, red cheeks, curly moustache, and merry twinkling eyes. He wore a conical cap as high as himself. Conical means a cone-shaped cap with a pointed tip, and a cloak 4 times as long. Cloak means a warm piece of clothing. "I am wet, let me in," said the stranger. "I beg pardon, sir," said Gluck. "I am very sorry, but I really can't. My brothers would beat me to death if I did any such thing." But Gluck saw how hard it was raining, and how cold it was, and how wet the gentleman looked. So he opened the door and let the stranger in. Gluck thought he would let the stranger get warm inside for some time, and ask him to leave before his brothers came home. The stranger, however, had no plans of leaving. In fact, he told Gluck that he had nothing to eat for 2 days and was very hungry. It melted Gluck's heart to hear this. Melt one's heart means to feel very sorry for someone. So he decided to give the stranger a part of his own dinner. Before the stranger had eaten it, however, the wicked brothers returned. They were shocked to see the little gentleman sitting in the house. At once the brothers began to shout at Gluck. Squats threw a rolling pin at Gluck. Rolling pin is a kitchen item. You must have seen your mother using it to flatten the chapatis. At that instant, the stranger put in his conical cap, and the rolling pin went spinning to a corner of the room. So you can see how the stranger saved Gluck from the rolling pin. The brothers turned to the visitor and ordered him to get out of the house. The little man asked them humbly to let him stay as it was so cold and wet outside. But the evil brothers wouldn't listen. They rushed at the old man to throw him out of the house. To their surprise, they found they couldn't touch him. Instead, they were themselves swept into the corner with the rolling pin. Then the gentleman gathered his cloak and cap and said, "At 12 o'clock tonight I'll call again, but since you have treated me so badly, it will be the last visit I pay you." Then he went away like a whirlwind. That night, a big storm woke the brothers. It shook the house and blew away the roof. Once again, the wicked brothers saw the strange visitor. He was sitting on a cloud, bobbing up and down. Bobbing means moving quickly. "You may go to your brother's room. I have not damaged it," he told Hans and Squats. "Remember, this is my last visit. You will find my card on the table." And with those words he disappeared. In the morning the brothers saw from the window that the storm had swept away whole trees and crops from Treasure Valley. Everywhere they saw only red sand and grey mud. The valley was a picture of ruin. Ruin means destroyed completely. The brothers then crept into the kitchen. Crept means moved very quietly and slowly. On the kitchen table there was a small white card. And what was written on the white card? The name of the strange visitor, Southwest Wind, Esquire. So children, we will continue this story in our next lesson, that is the part 2 of this story. Let's now begin with the written work of this lesson. You can refer to page 86 for the exercise. Write today's date and name of the lesson on the margin. Lesson 34, The King of the Golden River, Part 1. Question 1. Meanings. Children, you can also refer to page 81 for meanings. Fertile, able to produce great crops. Beams, raise. Wages, the money that is paid for the work that a person does. Mending, repairing. Cloak, a warm piece of clothing. Bobbing, moving quickly. Question 2. Describe the following in short. Treasure Valley. Answer. The Treasure Valley was a fertile place because it rained there. The wind and the clouds made the crops green, the hay high, the apples red, the grapes purple, and the honey sweet. Southwest Wind, Esquire. Southwest Wind, Esquire was very short, with large nose, red cheeks, curly moustache, and merry twinkling eyes. He wore a conical cap as high as himself and a cloak which was 4 times as long as himself. The Black Brothers. Answer. Spots and Hands were called the Black Brothers. They were big, ugly, and wicked. They were good farmers, made good profits, and were rich, but did not help the poor. Gluck. Gluck was the youngest of the 3 brothers. He was only 12 years old. He was kind to every living thing. He did all the mending, cooking, and housework. So children, we will continue with part 2 of this lesson in our next class. Thank you. Take care.